Since I graduated high school, I spent time to travel the world. I have lived in China and in Ghana, a small country in West Africa. Now, this is my third country, Myanmar, where I am going to work for 6 months. So, on the 26th of February 2019, I am taking a flight from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia to Yangon, Myanmar. The first impression, very good. The airport is very modern, much better than most of the airports that I have seen in Africa and in my travel in the world. The street next to the airport is also very developed with very nice buildings. But if there is one thing that I learned since I am traveling is never judge a country by his airport. Never judge a book by his cover, and the first news that you see a country may not be very representative of what the country really is. As we are driving from the airport to the city center, we really see like the richest parts of the country of Myanmar. We really see like people who have the money to have a life exactly like in the United States or in Switzerland. At the same time, we can see easily that we are in a developing countries. Just see this picture. You will not see this in the United States or in Western Europe. This is downtown Yangon. I am checking into my hotel, which is owned by Chinese, and I am the only guest in the hotel who is not Chinese. Very Chinese. Like in all the developing countries, you see all these shops who sell cell phone and Wi-Fi. British architecture is everywhere in Yangon. You see these British buildings everywhere. Did you know that in the 19th century, at the end of the 19th century, Yangon was the most developed city in all Southeast Asia, much more developed than Singapore, Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur. Here, this street is very amusing because on one side you have like a typical market of the developing countries, and on the other side you have a very modern and luxury shopping mall. And the two are sticking together in the same streets. Is it really just me, or this church, the church that you can see, really looks like it is just coming right from Florence, from Italy, no? For dinner, I had a tea salad with peanuts at Yangon Tea House, one of the most famous restaurants in town. The next morning, we take a boat to cross the river where there is no bridge. After we cross the river, we really are outside of the city. It really looks like the countryside. We visit the famous Snake Temple. So for those of you who don't realize, people are actually praying this snake after we come back to the city by boat. We go for a one-day excursion to visit Bago. Bago was the capital of Myanmar in the 16th century, so you still have a lot of interesting things to do. The pagoda is actually taller than the famous Redagon pagoda in Yangon. After we have lunch, and after we go to visit the famous Imperial Palace of Bago. Actually, this one was destroyed in the 17th century, but recently, 20 years ago, they built a replica of it so that it exactly looks like what it was before. Among the other interesting things to do, the sleeping Buddha and the four Buddhas, for those of you who like a lot to see Buddhist temples. The next week, I will do an excursion to visit Golden Walk. Golden Walk is actually a walk where people put some golden leaf because they believe that it will bring to them prosperity. To go there, you have two choices. Either you take the bus with all the tourists and there is a KFC waiting for you at the bus station like you can see, or you can walk 5 hours in the mountains and enjoy the nature. Of course, we choose the walk. What is interesting is that along the way you really see like the daily life of the average Burmese people. Very far from the life of a big city, you really have an opportunity to see what it is like to live in the countryside without any running water, without any permanent electricity. But even the people who don't have electricity network often have a cell phone that they charge with solar panels. To Yangon, we go to have lunch at the Hard Rock Cafe located inside the Myanmar Plaza. Next to the Myanmar Plaza, you really have a lot of very charming streets where people have beautiful homes and where you can enjoy a very peaceful a way of life very far from the agitation of the downtown. It's really like what I like when I travel, to lose myself in a big city, to walk sometimes hours without knowing where you go, and to spend time to enjoy these beautiful moments of life. Countries that I visited on Earth, you really have to be careful where you put your feet, because if you just walk like you would do in your hometown in a developed country without looking at the ground, 1 feet and you can go very down like you see